Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Ask a Christian podcast. I'm your host, Nate. All right. I am not a prophet, but I have a clue what the first guy is going to be talking about. Let's see if I'm right. Is it going to be some prophecy again, and how Christians are bad and need to not try to hurry about the end of days while everyone else is completely fine and good and totally not doing anything bad? Let's see if I'm right. I am right. I know I'm right. Except I made the guy wait a while, so we'll see if he's still here. If he's here, yes, I'm right. Hey, mommy, what's up? How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
What's on your mind
So,
today?
my mind is, as usual, in my PTR.
I can't see it
Uh,
super well.
uh,
It looks like there's some different roads with some symbols on them.
yes, the roles are actually based upon the time, and it's at the end there is a huge explosion. You know, the roles are different religions, for example, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and it's based upon time. At the end time, the explosion is the end time in each of the religions. Almost all of them say that a huge war will happen, and at the end, for example, Armageddon in Christianity, Gog and Magog in the Judaism, and Zechariah 14, and the same thing in Islam. But right now, at the beginning, suppose that I can assume that that explosion, that end time might happen million years later or thousand years later. But right now, at the beginning of the roads, people are fighting together because of what is going to happen at the end time. This is my view to actually all the religions today, that I believe the one of the most important reasons for the conflicts are fear of that event, that end time conflict. So it's just a idea. I wanna just discuss it with you, and do you agree that this is this is happening right now? The For example,
He didn't
as I
say
told you,
prophecy, but he's clearly talking
for
about
example,
prophecies. I win. I claim
Russia
victory.
and Ukraine is one of the examples.
Uh,
Even Iran and Iran.
no, I don't agree with your conclusion. I don't think the current troubles in the world have to do with all the sides worried about the end times prophecies. I think they have to do with much more immediate things. So no, we just disagree. Like, if we're saying that the reason Russia is fighting Ukraine and Gaza and Palestine is fighting Israelis and Lebanon, Hamas, like China, Taiwan, Tibet, like if we're saying the reason all these government powers of the world and groups are fighting each other is because they're focused on end times prophecy fulfillment, I couldn't disagree more. There may be one person somewhere out of like 1,000 that kind of has that in the back of their mind, but no, I think their immediate concern is what's happening right now in their own worlds.
Okay, so it was I do realize, but it is of course there are some other reasons. What appears is not evidently religion. No one, for example, nowhere Russia may say that I'm going to fight against you because of the end of prophecy, for example, because of Gog and Magog. But actually, I believe that just as an example, the I want to say that the defensive shield that the NATO has built and make it near to Russia is based upon Armageddon. Of course, the NATO has never said that, but I don't see any other reasons rather than that. This is the dominant reason that Russia attack Ukraine. But mm, do you know, or can you? Of course, I'm suggesting that you can research. What's the reason of existence of, for example, NATO? It's actually nothing. Right now, there's no, it's based upon a fear. We are based upon actually prophecy from East that might attack the West, and that is based upon Armageddon. So there is no
No.
other reasons for that.
Well, look at their founding documents. So the only way you have to justify what you're saying is if they're lying, which, I mean, maybe. But I mean, if you look at the reason NATO was formed, it was to create enough of a force to specifically keep Russia from encroaching westward. That's the reason. So if you say, well, that sounds nice on paper, but really the reason is because of these prophecy fulfillment. You're worried about Armageddon, and really that's because all you godless Europeans that don't even believe in Christianity or God or prophecies, you secretly do, just like Romans 1 says. And that's why, like layer after layer after layer, you're like, that's why you said NATO was formed to keep Russia from moving west, because of all of these things that even you don't know, but secretly you do. Like, that's the only way you can link that. Otherwise, we have to take it at face value. Like, it's to keep Russia from encroaching on Europe. Right?
I said that there is not, no one, it is an idea. No one has clearly made such a claim.
Okay,
but,
guys, if you're listening, please, for the love of all that's holy,
I think that
go to... I don't even know how to get to Clubhouse. Hang on, how do I get to Clubhouse?
Just as an example,
come to Clubhouse and join me live in the morning about 8:30 Eastern Time. And please give me some better questions than this. Otherwise, you're self-fulfilling this own prophecy that says you're doomed to listen to this stuff every day when we begin. Because this dude seems like a nice guy, we have some decent conversation, but it is always about the same stuff. Like, not everyone instinctively believes or is trying to fulfill the end of days prophecies. They're just not.
You might don't care about it.
So this is what he just said I don't care about it. I do care about it, but the things he's trying to link together and I'm dismissing because I'm like, no, it's ridiculous and absurd, doesn't mean I don't care about it. It means it completely does not apply. Please go to youtube.com/questions about Christianity, no spaces.
Might be afraid of
and then from somewhere I don't know, go I don't even know how. Is it clubhouse.com/
even one person?
Okay, I gotta get back to this guy. I have no idea what he's been saying because I've been talking to you on mute from him, but I bet I know enough to keep this conversation going. Yeah, it's not that I don't care about this stuff, it's just that the things you present I can't tie together and reach your conclusion in any meaningful way. So I care about prophecy at the end times very much. But to say that, your ideas, like, people are fighting wars and stuff because they're primarily focused on the end of days, or the reason NATO was formed is because of a prophecy that most of these people don't even believe in, because they're like avowed atheists or agnostics, I just can't get there. So it's not I don't care, it's that I just can't logically link these strings together. So there we are.
Okay. That's my point today.
But thanks for sharing. I mean, if anyone listening, agrees with you, leave a comment and, we'll address it. So if anyone out there listening or anyone else on stage agrees or wants to say anything about that, leave a comment and I will bring it here the following day. But thanks for sharing it, Mommy.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone else. If you guys have something to say, please speak now. In the meantime, I'm fighting with my phone that doesn't seem to want to work. I'm out here trying to share the room, and it's like, no, you can't share. Hey, Greg. Good morning. Michael, Mark, and Greg. How are you all? Wonderful, wonderful. Hey, Michael. Good morning.
What is going on today?
Oh, it's just another day. Yep. Another day where my phone is not working. Wonderful. Wonderful.
I assume we are not speaking about an Apple product.
Android cannot rightly be blamed for this. There is so much stuff going on with this phone that, much like the end of days prophecies, to go straight to blaming Android, you would have to bypass like 4 obvious contenders for the real reason something is wrong with this before you get to it's an Android problem.
It's always an Android problem. Have you, before Chris gets here and asks you the obvious, have you tried turning it off and on again?
I literally just did that. But I think, watch, okay, hang on. So I did reset, which sometimes works. Now I'm turning it off, and I will leave it off for a couple minutes. Okay, you iPhone, Android bigots. The first problem is I have multiple filtering systems going on, like network-wide, house-wide. So occasionally these things, because you're only supposed to really use like one type of filtering, otherwise it can cause problems. So fully aware of this, but wanting what I want, I have multiple things that can sometimes, I believe, cause a conflict with each other and bug things out. That would be one. The second one is I do use a third party, like one of the cheap resellers. So most of the time I want to blame them, and about half the time it is them, half the time it's not. But you know, when you pay literally $20, like $19.95 a month for unlimited phone service, up to like 20 gigs of data, it is so much better than paying like 60 to 80 from like Verizon or AT&T outright. So it's like I like to use their towers, but I go through a third-party reseller. So, you know, sometimes saving $50 causes a little pain. I am a value shopper. These are some of the issues that you can blame before you get to, it's an Android. Anyways, I don't want to talk about tech problems, because if I did, that's all I'd talk about. Good morning, Chris. Tuffer.
Amazingly enough, I go through almost tech problem free unless it's my clients.
Your phone just cut out. Is that iPhone's fault? Say it again.
No, I'm transitioning between my house, which has very fast Wi-Fi 7, and
I think I just got something that's Wi-Fi 6, like just now.
that's great.
Which means until like right now, I was on, I guess, Wi-Fi 5 or something, maybe? I don't know.
That's crazy. I literally just got, for the first time, I got faster than 1 gigabit Ethernet over a wireless connection recently. And that was very fun.
Wow.
Yeah. So with Wi-Fi 7, it'll go, you can get like 1,500 MIPS out of it.
I just heard of, it's called Zorin or Zorum OS, that apparently is a bare bones, like beginner-friendly Linux-based system to encourage people to get away from the Mark of the Beast Windows. Maybe just name calling, maybe true, I don't know. But anyways, if anyone's interested in a free operating system that apparently is made specifically to mimic Windows without all the stuff like resource gobbling and spying on you, check that out.
Why would I want to mimic Windows?
Well, it's good to be alive today. Yeah, another day. Praise the Lord. Praise Jesus.
Wait, what happened? Why wouldn't you be alive?
I'm just trying to change this topic.
I'm with you. I mean, we could talk about the tribal lands being reclaimed in British Columbia.
Yeah.
I thought that was particularly funny.
Would you like to share? I know you shared the article to me. I don't know. Do we? Michael, is that a thing? I mean, I guess it is a thing. How big a thing is it? People being told that potentially they're squatting on native land and may have to give up their house and get out.
Yeah, there's whole sections of Vancouver that are now being repatriated to the, I don't know, some hunter-gatherer nation from 300 years ago that's decided that they own all the $1 million houses on Vancouver.
Where was this reported?
It's originally from a Canadian news source. There was a letter that went out to all these residents that basically was like, hey, by the way, because of the longest court trial in Canadian history, apparently, your houses have in the black zone. Now you probably don't own them and your title is no longer valid. And then the houses in the green zone are still being litigated over. But you guys in the black zone, you don't own your properties anymore. And now the spokesman from the tribe was like, we're not going to make anybody move.
Did you hear, I think it's in Germany, how someone check this. I'm like the secondhand news guy from Saturday Night Live. Like, I heard from someone. I think it's Germany. If you have an empty bedroom, so like if you have a 4-bedroom house and like 3 rooms are filled, you have to pay a tax if you don't fill the 4th one with like an immigrant. Basically, they're trying to force housing upon people. I believe it's Germany. Check me. But they're like, for every empty bedroom you have that's like out of the goodness of your heart and compulsion by the state, you don't fill with a migrant family, you have to pay like a pretty steep tax for having an empty room in your own house because white people.
Yeah, that's correct. If you do not accept the Muslim invasion and pay the jizya, you'll pay it anyway. They should just rename that tax the jizya. That would be great.
I keep thinking of MyPillow's Giza sheets because it sounds similar.
See, Imami's never around when you need him, man. He could have told us how to pronounce that.
Man, I can't. Like, the guy seems nice. Every single time, it's about, like, prophecies. Today he's like, well, I think the reason there's any war going on is basically all the people fighting. It's because they're worried about Armageddon and the end of days, so that's why they're fighting. I'm like, what? I'm like, no. He's like, well, I understand you just don't care. I'm like, no, I care about the end times and prophecies very much. But to try to say that this is somehow related and all the reason people and governments and wars are fighting is because they're worried about the end times prophecy, especially from, like, the godless Europeans that are like atheists and don't believe in God anyway. No. The reason they're fighting is because people are doing things they don't like right now. They are not concerned with the end times. And if you find like one guy in a bunker somewhere that is, well, won't be for long. He's probably catching fire from somewhere.
Michael is feverishly researching this tribal land grab.
Is that what you're doing, Michael?
So the British, is fishing rights and title to undeveloped land in the area, not to anything owned by private individuals.
Yeah, that's not what the letter says to the residents that own houses. You can
where did you see this?
Nate, go ahead and send him the link because you can actually see the physical letter.
Well, I'm trying to get my internet to work. I don't know how my computer is working and my phone isn't. So I will try to find something here in a minute. I'm sitting here. Sorry for everyone listening. By the way, now that I started doing timestamps, like the views of this glorious dumpster podcast have gone significantly up over what they used to be for a brand new channel. Because now we have timestamps and chapters, so people will just click on what they want. Except now I'm letting them all down because it'd be like the first timestamp of note is at 37 minutes. Like, what have you guys been doing until then? Nothing, bro.
So it says here, BC Supreme Court Justice Barbara Young found the lands owned by Richmond remain unoccupied and undeveloped except for a small dam and other city-owned parcels of land.
Oh, this phone's disgusting. Okay, let me see what I can find.
What are we talking about?
Oh, hey, Canada is stealing land from white people that own houses to give back to native tribes, is the claim. We're looking for sources now, and surprise, my phone doesn't work.
Ooh, Steph, you're going to love this.
What? Yeah, go ahead.
Love it even more. Is in Canada, in Vancouver, all the $1 million homes have been claimed by tribal land, and they won their court. Oh, I was transitioning.
No, who didn't give me any details? Go ahead.
You said transitioning.
He didn't give you any details. Just here, I'll just post the old article in the chat so you can see it.
All right, I already got questions about this. So Canada is using a condemnation status to take back the land from private owners and give it to native tribes, but they're picking their most populous city areas over all of the vacant, empty land because...
White people.
Oh.
Bad. Okay, here we go. I think I got it, Chris. I had to look it up myself because my phone's not working, and that's where you shared the link. Okay. Canada tells disarmed citizenry their homes belong to native tribes after pivotal court ruling, ramifications across the country. Let's see. Aboriginal title of your property valid. Da, 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 da. Okay, welcome to Richmond, British Columbia, a suburb of Metro Vancouver. Did you, let's see, Billboard Chris. Did you work your whole life to buy that $2 million home near Vancouver? Too bad, your home is no longer yours. Congrats. You worked your whole life to buy a home. Someone else's great-grandpa, da-da-da, might have. Okay. So, yeah, this seems to be Michael. If anyone's watching
What
this later,
is the source?
I'm giving you the source
I just
literally.
posted it to the chat.
Literally.
You know I
right.
never look at the chat.
Okay, listen to my voice. The source is, first of all, admit defeat. You said the source. Chris gave the source. It's not his fault. You don't read chat. Okay. So, inaudibleness, here is the source. This is the city of Richmond. You can see part of the link shared. It's Richmond, BC, and it looks like www.rich, and then the website is cut off, so I imagine it's the official City of Richmond website. But this is looks like a very thing with a little crest of something, an artistic crest, and it says City of Richmond. This is in Vancouver. So that is the source. Unless it's completely forged, this says, and there's an email at the bottom I'll get to. Okay, please take note that the recent BC Supreme Court decision of Cowichan Tribes versus Canada 2025, pay attention, BCSC 1490, made some very important decisions which could negatively affect the title of your property. A briefing paper prepared by the City of Richmond staff is attached for your reference. If you look at the draft map attached to the briefing, your property is located within the claim area outlined in green. For those whose property is in the area outlined in black, the court has declared Aboriginal title to your property, which may compromise the status and validity of your ownership. This was mandated without any prior notice to the landowners. The entire area outlined in green is claimed on appeal by the Cowichan First Nations. First Nations is such an ironic lie. It's not a nation.
No,
There's
keep
nation.
going. I'm listening to
They're
the
nomadic.
property
Okay,
law
anyways.
implications.
Okay, given the serious, what's the right voice of a guy who would read this with one of the powdered wigs? It needs to be that voice.
You gotta do like a 1950s radio announcer.
No, I'm thinking
Oh,
like
you can do it
like a town crier. Given the serious
There we go.
implications of this court decision, that's and the pending appeal, the city is hosting an information session to tell you how screwed you are. An information session to be held on Tuesday, October 28th. Michael, you can live stream this. You can get on this. October 28th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at Richmond City Hall. We hope that you can attend to learn more about this important situation, how we're stealing your stuff. Okay, please phone us. That's how you know it's Canadian. Please phone us at I'm gonna read that on air. I don't know. Anyways,
I'm gonna call them and ask what's going on.
Well, you can watch the replay and see it on screen, or email us at some dude at richmond.ca to confirm your attendance. Yours truly. Your friendly government that's stealing everything from you.
Okay, so when
This is such
cities...
humiliation. Like, how much will they stomp people's face into the muddy First Nations ground before people are like, you know what? No.
I would love to hear more about the court case. You said it was the Cowichan
Yeah.
tribe versus
Okay, let's look
British
this up.
Columbia.
It's Cowichan. So Cowichan Tribes versus Canada, 2025 BCSC 1490. I'm going to look this up.
Could you drop that in the chat? I'm about to do my drop off here, but like I really want to know. Okay, so to give some context, when a government municipality in red, white, and blue, God bless America, right? Once in a while, the city will use a condemnation status to take property. So that will be for a road or a park or something like that, something that the government is going to use. And what they'll do is they'll pay you your assessment value, which sucks because often that's lower than your actual market value. So if someone's property is worth $200,000, the government will usually give you between 70 and 79% of that, right? Because that's where your assessment usually sits. So the bummer in the US is that you don't get paid full market value. And then you end up sort of just losing your property to this condemnation, and that's that. You can't really do anything about it.
Oh,
Doing that to an entire neighborhood in a city is wild to me. Now, in the US, we did this, for example, in Manhattan, and then they moved everybody to Harlem so that they could build highways. And then this was in like the 60s or 70s, right? And then everybody was like, that's super racist. And that's why Harlem got really downtrodden then, is because, they moved all these people out of these low income neighborhoods over to Harlem and they built the highway. And so that kind of grand sweeping condemnation has been deemed highly, highly unethical. And I think that's the last time that really happened in the US, and it was quite a national problem. I can't believe Canada's doing it to entire blocks in Vancouver. That's crazy. Eminent domain. Yes. Thank you, David. Yeah.
I want to make two quick points. One,
Well,
about
it's not
sourcing.
eminent
About
domain.
sourcing. The source is not the B. And when people are like, that's not a serious source, I want to point out something that this funny source, I mean, it's literally called not the B, so the claim is truth. But if you say, well, it's biased, we can't trust that. One of these sources someone may consider not worthy, they have given, proper citations. So now they have given us the source that people may deem sketchy. They've given us the official source, which we're going to read in just a moment. So I just want to say, just because it doesn't matter what the source is, if you don't like the source, if they give credible citations, that's a legitimate source. So because of that, we're going to read the actual court document here in a minute. The other thing is, if you can click on, I'll share the link if you need it, or you can go to youtube.com/@questionsaboutchristianity, no spaces, and you can see a map. So we have pics. Pics or it didn't happen. So we have pics, so it's totally happened.
Nate, can you wait 5 minutes? Please, I'm so sorry. Please, can you talk about something else for 5 minutes? I got to do this drop off and come right back.
I will slow walk this.
Have Chris tell jokes.
You have 48, 49, 51. You have until 8:53. Yeah. Well, hang on. Let people. Here's what I'll do, Steph. I'll share the link, and we'll talk about this picture and whatever Michael's going to say for 4.5 minutes now. I hope you're running.
Right.
Okay.
So CTV News, National Post, the Globe and Mail, and other sources have cited another story from this indigenous community that said, one, this quote unquote may impact. It's a 7.5 kilometer square patch of land. Okay. And what the chief has already said is he doesn't want the land. He wants financial considerations for, hang on, just let me finish, for other parcels of land outside the city limits. Not that. So they're not going to kick anyone out of their houses. They're going to give the indigenous people other land.
Michael, I understand, and I will just assume everything you've said is the written
gospel. You cut out there for a second.
Oh, of course I did. I will just assume without challenge right now, everything you said is the secular gospel truth. It doesn't matter. So the fact, like the critique is with the Canadian court, and their willingness to do this upon their citizens. Not that we have a, I guess, maybe seemingly kind of graceful chief, and his response. The fact of the matter is, the gall of your government to do this to your citizenry is the critique. If there's a saving grace that the chief is like, I could totally like do all of this and take it because you've given it to me on a silver platter like John the Baptist's head, and I'm Herod. I will not do that. If that is true and he said that, I mean, I'm sure he's getting plenty of financial consideration that is very beneficial to him. So it's not like he's innocent as a dove. It may be like he's like, dude, I'm not moving my tribe to downtown Vancouver to be pillaged by other invaders that are coming in and next to a cess-flowing river. That may be it. So it may be less than noble, but I don't even care. Let's just assume his intentions are pure as the driven snow, which in Canada is probably pretty pure. But yeah, the critique is with the government. Would you? I mean, we'll go through the court document here in a minute, but I mean, that's pretty messed up, right, Michael? I mean, would you be a little miffed if this was your house and they're like, yeah, Michael, you're in danger of losing everything, and then you have a gracious chief that's like, you know what, Michael, we're not going to come take over your house. You can stay there, but we're going to, get a large financial incentive via, inadvertently, your tax dollars at the behest of the Canadian government for some other land. You would still have to be like, dude, I am not happy about this decision.
Yeah, that would suck. So the other thing to consider is that this is the BC Supreme Court. So when she's talking about appealing it, it still has to go to the Supreme Court of Canada. So nothing will happen until that happens.
Okay, and if you're looking at the maybe we'll find out when that is in a minute. But okay, so if anyone's looking at the picture, I shared the link in the pinned link. You can click it. Yeah, so you have a large amount of federally owned land that overlaps with the Aboriginal tribe land, which, yeah, looks like includes a lot of residential area in black. And then the green is a massive area right by, like, riverside property, like all of it, like super peak real estate right on the riverway.
Well,
Let's see.
And the whole point, though, is not, they're not going to kick anybody out. Like, you lost title to your land. You can't sell it. You don't own it anymore. You can't give it to your kids. You all of the money that you have invested in a property to purchase, which is what most people's, at least in America, I don't know about Canada, but most people's wealth is invested in their home. They have forfeited all of it. Now, the tribe, being smart, doesn't want a bunch of houses. What they want is cash dollars. And so what they're going to do is use this as leverage against the taxpayer of Canada to leverage hundreds of millions of dollars from Canada. That's what they're going to do. But, like, that's why they're saying, oh, we're not going to kick anybody out. But effectively, like, and Steph will be back to tell us the real estate, problems with all this. But basically, like, if you were just about to sell your house in this black area, you're boned. Like, there's no one buying your house. There's no title company going to insure that title. Like, you're completely boned. And the other problem is
Okay, I'm back.
oh, good. So like, if you owned a house in this black area, you're boned. So, Steph, it's not eminent domain. So what they're doing is they're just rescinding the titles without compensation to the homeowners.
Okay, that was my next question. Without
Yeah.
compensation?
Yes, there is no compensation to the homeowners. They're like, no, you can just keep staying. But effectively, what I was saying is that it removes the title to the people who live in the black area. If you were trying to sell your house, you're now boned. You can't sell that house. There's no title company going to insure that. There's no title company who's going to write that. Like, no one's touching that. So, like, now you are in a no man's land where you can't sell your home. The property value of your home is going to plummet because now ownership of the titles are all in complete cattywampus. You're not going to, you've basically lost use of your house without compensation. Because one of the uses of the house is as a store of wealth. And if you have now lost the title to your home because of some leftist judge whack job, or multiple leftist judge whack jobs. I almost want to say you're being hoisted by your own petard, because the people who are probably in the demographic of owning these homes are probably the ones who voted for those people, to be quite honest. So, it's a massive injustice to those individual Canadian residents.
I also posted in chat, regular chat, the link to the court case.
Yeah, I'm looking over it now.
Yeah.
So, did you already read through this or no?
No, we were waiting on you.
Thank you. Okay, so the Cowichan were indigenous people comprised of 11 local groups prior to and at the time of the European contact in the 1790s, which is actually quite recent. At the time, the British Crown asserted sovereignty in BC at 1846 and after, the members of the tribes, and there's a bunch of names of them, are the descendants the tribes today are the descendants of the historic Cowichan people and the 11 local groups. Historically, the Cowichan occupied several winter villages on the east coast of Vancouver Island, from what is now Cowichan Bay to the south as far north as Meiwes. They also had winter villages on the southern Gulf Islands, including Cooper, Penelakut Island, Thetis Island, Valdez Island, Willie, Hellalalt Island. Okay. The Cowichan relied on fishing, gathering, hunting for their food. Every summer, they traveled en masse to their permanent post in Beam Village in the lands north of the Fraser River. The plaintiffs have established Cowichan Aboriginal title. I can't believe that's a thing. Okay, the plaintiffs have established Cowichan Aboriginal title to a portion of the claim area. Prior to and after 1846, the Cowichan sufficiently and exclusively occupied the permanent village, its surrounding lands, and the strip of submerged lands in front of the village. Okay. In 1853, Governor James Douglas told the Cowichan that the Queen had given him special charge to treat them with justice and humanity so long as they remained at peace with the settlements. This was a solemn promise that engaged the honor of the Crown, which is a constitutional principle that requires the Crown to act honorably in its dealings with Indigenous peoples. Okay, the idea that the sovereignty... This is why you should have revolted and why you should have guns, but okay. All right. In 1859 and 1860, Douglas appropriated, essentially meaning removed or set apart, Indian settlements from the Crown's land disposition process, which includes sale and preemption. The settlements were set aside for the purpose of eventual Indian reserve creation. Okay, so in 1860, they set aside land. At that time, the Cowichan continued to occupy their village and its surrounding lands. It was a, quote, Indian settlement, as colonial officials understood that term. Nonetheless, the Cowichan settlement was never established as an Indian reserve. Instead, the lands of all these words I can't pronounce were sold to settlers without the Cowichan's knowledge. Okay, so this happened in... Well, now it's giving a date of 1817 to 18... Okay, so it sounds like this is mid to late 1800s. Between 1871 and 1914, the Crown grants of fee simple interest were issued over the whole of the claim area, including the Cowichan title lands. The first purchase of Cowichan title lands was made by Richard Moody, who is the first chief commissioner of lands that works for the colony of BC and was tasked with ensuring that Indian reserves were created at sites of Indian settlements. Because occupied Indian settlements were appropriated and could not be sold, most of the Crown grants in the Cowichan title lands were made without statutory authority. Okay, so so they're saying around the year 1900 they had Indian reserve lands, and then this was established by the government, the municipality, and the Crown. Then someone is issuing what's called fee simple title. So fee simple title means that this is just, you own it outright. There's no kind of checks on anything. This is yours now. We're not worried about what happened prior. So a bunch of, I'm assuming, Europeans were issued fee simple title. Okay, so that happens around the year 1900, occurs up to 1914. BC was admitted into Canada in 1871. Under the BC Terms of Union, the effect of Article 13 was to extend appropriation of Indian settlement lands post-Confederation, limiting the province's ability to sell the land without first dealing with the Cowichan's interest. As a result, the post-Confederation Crown grants in the Cowichan title lands were made without constitutional authority because they were made under legislation that was constitutionally limited by Article 13. The Crown grants of fee simple interest deprived the Cowichan of their village lands, severely impeded their ability to fish the south arm of the Fraser River, and are an unjustified infringement on the Aboriginal title. Subsequent dispositions of the Cowichan's land, including BC's vesting of Richmond with fee simple interest. Okay, da-da-da-da-da. The province had no jurisdiction to extinguish the Aboriginal title. The Crown grants of fee simple interest did not displace or extinguish Cowichan's original title. All right, so now I have a fuller picture here. So what has happened is that relatively recently, like in 1900, there were titles given to the nation to allow them to claim this land forever and ever. And in 1914, somebody was just like, now we're just going to take it. So I'll tell you, that does change things. That means that although someone buying a property in 1990 would not be responsible for this, they never had what's called a clear and free title. In the United States, when you buy a property, you get something called an abstract of title. And that's where they go all the way back. Like some properties, you can go back to like the 1700s or earlier, right? And it'll show you what's called a chain of title. And that's everybody who's ever owned this land. And the attorneys look through the abstract of title and they say, was every transfer of this land legitimate? And they will check all 100 of them since 1776 if need be. And you will get a document that states you have clear title. What this is telling me is that in Canada, they don't do abstracts and they have never checked the chain of title. Because 1913 was not that long ago. If this situation were in the US, immediately someone selling this property in 1980 would have been told, whoa, you don't have clear title to this property. So what they're doing is they're saying, all of you buyers who bought these places, you never checked your abstract of title. You never knew that you didn't buy a legitimate deed, and you now need to give it back. That sucks.
And I want to point out one more thing quickly. Whenever people ask for real sources and then they are presented with real sources, maybe I'm about to be proven wrong and everyone's super interested. I am too, but just for the record, when people give the real sources and we go to like actual filed court documents and resolutions, it gets very more like in the ground and like, you know, it gets very like what Steph's doing, right? Like going into the weeds, which is good. That's how you find the truth. But a lot of people, it's like not frills and like captivating headlines. So everyone, a lot of people like are tending to tune out. I mean, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But the point is, this is what you asked for, right? So it's correct. Like we got the receipts. Like Babylon, not the bee headlines are great. And turns out it did a really good job. But then we're like, well, let's go to the most accurate source. And now here we are. And I just imagine everyone's like, what are you guys doing? We're being accurate. We were called on it, so now we're digging into it. Anyway, so let me, let me give the 6 declarations that were actually made from this thing. And yeah, so the point is, look, if you can see the bias, right? So if this goes through, I mean, it's already too late. No matter what happens on appeal or anything else from Michael, but if they're trying to identify a problem, great. You've identified a problem. You guys are all bad at your jobs. So now you're trying to rectify it by giving untold compensation to this tribe while presumably just screwing your citizens. If you really want to make up for it, you would also give financial considerations to the citizens who you've also, through no fault of their own, put in a very bad way. That would be how you properly try to address this. So either you say, what's done is done, everyone figure it out yourselves, or, oh no, we did something bad, we have to make it right. Don't make it 50% right on one side of the tribe, make it 100% right. So offer the chief, or whatever Michael said he's wanting, financial considerations in other lands, great, sure. Do that with land the government owns. Also, make the same offer to the people whose lives you've just screwed. And they're like, well, technically, you could sell a title. Stop being a lib. Realistically, no one's going to touch that title with a 10,000 foot
Yeah,
pole.
you can't now.
So,
no.
Right, no one's going to touch it. So it's like, well, technically you can't. No, you can't. Shut up. Okay, so here's the declarations. The Cowichan have aboriginal title to the Cowichan title lands within the meaning of Section 35(1) of the Constitution Act 1982, the year of my birth. The Crown grants the fee simple interest to the Cowichan title lands, and the Crown vesting of the soil and freehold interest in the certain highway lands in the Cowichan title lands unjustifiably infringe the Cowichan's aboriginal title, except for the Canada's fee simple titles and interest in certain lands, the Vancouver Airport fuel delivery project lands. Canada and Richmond's fee title simple interest in the Cowichan title lands are defective and invalid. With respect to the Cowichan title lands, Canada owes a duty to the Cowichan to negotiate in good faith reconciliation of Canada's fee simple interest in the Vancouver Airport fuel delivery project lands with Cowichan Aboriginal title in a manner consistent with the honor of the Crown. And then there's a semicolon. What should come after that semicolon is, and also all the people's lives we've just screwed. Of our citizens whose titles were just invalidated. It should also say that, but it doesn't. Anyways, then, 2 more declarations. With respect to the Cowichan title lands, BC owes a duty to the Cowichan to negotiate in good faith reconciliation of the Crown granted fee simple interest held by third parties and the Crown vesting of the soil and freehold interest to Richmond and Cowichan Aboriginal title in a manner consistent with the honor of the Crown. And it sounds like the Crown has no honor. Cowichan have an Aboriginal right to fish. This is the funniest one yet. This is so dumb. Have a right to fish the south arm of the Fraser River for food within the meaning of Section 35 of the Constitutional Act 1982. I bet people like Steph are going to be like, why is that bad that they can fish in the river? Look at the picture. It's right in the middle of heart of downtown Vancouver. If they fish in this river, they will turn green with radiation and pollution and grow gills, and you will have a new hybrid species of human if they fish that river.
If someone offered me to fish in the Hudson, I'd be like, no thanks. You so it's like, keep that New Jersey
it's like,
water.
Look, guys, we've done something for Gaia, Mother Earth Spirit, who's First Nations tribes. Look, we've given them back the rivers. Now they can fish. You're all bigots and ignorant. It's like, great. You've granted them lease to fish in poison toxic water.
Oh, Nate.
Good job.
Allow me to help you, you sweet summer child. This is what you
preacher voice. Do the preacher voice.
No, don't do it.
Which voice? There's a bunch.
No.
The church preacher voice.
Snakebite?
I don't know if snakebite's good.
That doesn't apply.
Okay, so I'll do snakebite.
Do a colonizer voice.
Well, no, this is actually the very, very clever.
It's your regular voice, okay.
This is the very, very clever natives. So what you're missing, my friend, is that think about being part of this indigenous tribe, and you just won this case, and now you've got your fishing rights in the river, or whatever the heck it is in British Columbia. Guess what comes next? Is that you get to levy environmental lawsuits that you have now ruined their river that they have fishing rights to, and now they get title to all of the factories and all of the other crap all around that's polluting their river.
Okay,
well, they wouldn't get title. They would get, there would be like cleanup efforts.
Okay, Chris, if that happens in our lifetime, I'm just gonna play on what I'm told I should be 16% Cherokee Indian. That's what I was told, so I'm going to go with it. I have my official, they I guess believe my grandparents enough to give me my Cherokee Indian name when I was a child and everything. I have a little paper somewhere with a flying eagle on it. So I'm going to try to parlay my supposed Cherokee heritage with the Cowichan tribe of Canada and be like, look, guys, look. I may look a certain way, but I'm basically one of you, just from across the border in a different tribe. But you know what? I want to unite with you against these white Canadian devils because they've done it to themselves in a way that I want to be one of you guys now. Can we commit to doing that, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we're just going to repossess all of Michael's possessions to pay the Cowichan tribe for the lost fishing rights.
Michael, we have bagged on your country for the last 30 minutes, and you've been so gracious. I am very sorry. It's turning mean and spiteful more than it was.
For the record, I'm not. I see where they're coming from.
Would you like to just say anything? I don't know. I feel bad now, Michael.
They totally have a point, Steph. Like I kind of am siding with the tribe on this one. Like,
yeah, well, I am too, because look. Okay, hold on.
You know what? The people who own these private lands in Vancouver, if they were American, and they probably, are part of the No Kings protest anyway, even though they're not. I'm on the side of the tribe.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's go, Cowichan tribe.
Let's go. Demolish these homes. Put some huts.
this is where it's actually kind of relevant for people today, okay? Not every state in the US requires title searches. In fact, not even all of New York does, but all of upstate New York does. So we require title searches and attorneys to close for this exact reason, because this kind of thing has happened in New York before. Like, Native Americans have taken claim to Buffalo and huge parts of Syracuse, and it's been legitimate claims, right? Like, Syracuse is Onondaga Nation, so this is...
New York.
Oh my gosh.
I was just trying to sing a very inspiring city about its dastardly past.
So the point is, New York has been there's legal precedent for this here, right? So now we require title searches, and the reality is, particularly in Onondaga County, which is largely owned by the Onondaga Nation, you can find a property. That's one of the areas I cover. You can find properties, farm properties, where you go back in the title and there's an illegitimate transfer in like 1820, right?
Well, what the heck do you do then?
What we do is we require title searches, and that means it's buyer beware. It's
No,
that,
I don't
like,
I mean, like, for the seller, like, if they find out that their title's not legit from like 1820, what is their?
well, no, they would have found that out before they bought it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. So
Oh, so
this
they're trying
is...
to put one over on somebody.
Well, no, okay. So in New York, it is required that you do a title search before you take any kind of title or deed to a property. So if you are trying to buy a farmhouse in Syracuse, New York, that Native Americans have claim to, the attorneys are going to stop it and say, do not buy this. It does not have clear title. And the buyer is going to be like, bummer, I really liked that house, but you're right, I can't buy it. And the seller probably owned that property for multiple generations and they had no idea, right, that there was a cloud on the title because they never did a title search. So all that to say, in New York, this is prevented by buyers always conducting a title search, because these things do happen. What has happened in Vancouver is a huge swath of people and the government municipality never did any title searches. They never did any. They just were like, this is fine. And they kept taking land over and over on illegitimate titles. Now, Nate is right. Like, the tribe has a point in that this is not like, oh, we used to live in Oklahoma and now we want Oklahoma back. This is, we had a treaty with the crown and the crown went back on it. Okay? That is, and recently, in 1913. That's like very recent. I knew somebody who was alive in 1913, okay? That's not that long ago.
My grandfather was born then.
There you go. This is not that long ago. So in 1913, the crown went back on itself and said, just kidding, we're taking your land.
So they're Canadian givers.
Right. Yes, Canadian givers. So every person who bought the property after that is at fault because they never looked at the title. Now, in 2025, people who have no idea that this was a thing, did not know this happened, again, for the 30th time in the past 100 years, bought property without a title search. The problem is that, okay, it's not like Walmart came in and bought the land and sold it. It was the government municipality that came in and took the land and then sold it. So you are correct, Nate. The government needs to pay the current occupants fair market price.
Are you saying they should have trusted but verified?
Yes, that's what we do in all of my markets in my state. We trust that the seller has authority to sell the property, but we verify the title. Nobody did that in Vancouver.
Do you, I only assume Michael is away. Michael, anytime you want to speak on behalf of your country or whatever, just let us know. But
well, that's interesting, Nate. Actually, since you asked me, I will interrupt you. Why on earth do you think I should need to speak for the entirety of Canada?
I don't. I just really meant if you wanted to participate, since we've been bagging on your country.
So I agree with what you and what Steph said. Like, if there was this kind, but what's funny, what I did do in this time is I actually looked up our documents, and there was a title search done on my house, so I'm good.
Hallelujah! Right. Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
good. They're doing that in Toronto. Thank God.
I would immediately sue. Like, that is the biggest insult. It's like, we're gonna pay you fair market value. Like, no, you fair market value is like the minimum. That's like really less than you should do. It's like on top of pain, suffering, inconvenience. Like, I hate that. Like, fair market value, which is never fair market value, but even if it was, no, you need to pay
assessment number.
Yeah, you need to pay for all kinds of stuff on top of fair market value. give you an offer.
I think David's here. He's got other questions.
Oh, David, what's up? Hey, how you doing? And yeah, I have like 3 other killer articles to go through after this that are actually religious in nature.
That was
David, what's up,
good
David?
one. I liked that one.
That was good. Thank you.
Should we play the song "Blame Canada" now?
Blame Canada, blame Canada. That was it, right, from South Park?
Yeah. That's pretty good. Pretty good.
David, what's up? Do you have another topic, as Chris says?
No, I was just basically listening in.
Oh, well, the next thing I have, listener's choice, participant's choice. Okay, I will read the headlines. You tell me which one to focus on. By the way, Steph, your sex is letting everyone down. Okay, so first, unrelated. Them babies were in my face. Jesse Duplantis.
Steph is now representing all women.
Yes.
So let's
what is a woman?
Michael
Them babies were in my face.
Canadians.
Jesse Duplantis regales church with many big-breasted women stories. New survey shows major gender shift in church attendance. Men now most dominant demographic. And 3, along the same lines, Barna survey, 40% of Gen Z women identify as atheist or agnostic. Teen boys are the most spiritually active. By a show of everyone in the audience in chat, list 1 for Jesse Duplantis, 2 for the church men most dominant demographic in church, and number 3 for Gen Z women being evil and possessed. So 1, 2, or 3. We'll give you a moment to vote.
I think that Jesse Duplantis is probably going to get the most clicks for you because it's completely outrageous and gross. But I would vote for the teen boys.
Well, so far you and Sean, Sean and Lou have 2.
I would vote for the men.
Well, yeah, that's the only ones that have voted. So 3 men have voted for number 2. You all have failed us. All right, so I guess we'll do this. I would have gone with women or the devil myself, but we'll get to it. Okay, so let's see here. Copy my notes. Okay. New survey shows... this 2 and 3 were basically one hand in glove. Okay, so new survey shows major gender shift in church attendance. Men now most dominant demographic. Follow along with the article if you want. Let me paste it to you. You can see the charts and the graphs. Could I reiterate the figures? Yes, I shall. Okay, click on that link in chat if you want to follow along. A 25-year reversal in men and women's church attendance. So, as the graph shows, let's see, in 2000 it was 47% of women were churched, 38% of men. And then there's a big dip in both in 2015 to 2020. The great dark ages of our time, I guess, is what they would say. But now there's a resurgence. So men skyrocket up in 2025. 45% of, is this Gen Z? I guess just all men. Okay. So 45% of men are now churched compared to 36% of evil women. This is based on 132,000 U.S. adults, January 2000 to 2025, Barna Group. Okay, so the article is just what I read. Tracks with the survey that tracks, the other survey that says the women are outnumbering men in terms of claiming to be either agnostics or atheist or religiously unaffiliated, which means I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. Look at these crystals. Pumpkin spice. Girl boss.
And
Chris,
then
you have
there's the
rubbed off
essential
on me.
oils.
I sound like you. Oh my gosh.
And then there's the essential oils, right?
Okay, I like the essential oils. We're going to leave that one alone for now. So some research suggests that decline in women's church attendance may stem from a growing disconnect between traditional hierarchical church structures and values of younger women, many of whom now identify as liberal politically. So women can't be in church. You don't even want to be in church. Women can't be pastors. We don't even want to be pastors. Why do you care? And now, I want my birth control. I want my baby dead. I'm not going to do it. I just want my right if I wanted to, but I'm not. So, those 2 issues alone make me think that's kind of the issues. Even if they don't want to have abortions themselves, I imagine it's something to do with, like, people who are not them trying to say what they can and cannot do with their body. Even if, in theory, they agree with no abortion, they want to say they want their right afforded to them, even though they're not going to choose it. I'm just guessing that may be some of the biggest reasons. So women church structure, leadership, and I want my ability to have abortion, even though I totally won't ever, except I'm pregnant and now maybe I'll consider it. I sound so mean and spiteful today, Steph. I don't hate women.
Uh-huh. Sure.
You all are loved and treasured. And unsubscribing.
Nick,
Okay.
Do you want to
You better,
sit
because
down?
your mama might come and with a switch after you.
She's actually in the other room right now. They're visiting.
I missed that whole entire thing. I came back
You might
just
wanna
for I
reconsider
don't hate
that
women.
last
I
statement.
said you're great, Steph. Why are women evil? Okay, so that's the
What
entire
the heck?
article right there. That is the whole article. So basically, the entire point of this article is that today, 45% of men are churched, 36% of women are, which we're just going to go straight into the next article because all that is a graph. So now we're going to go to the next article, which tails off of it, that 40% of Gen Z women identify as atheist or agnostic or spiritually or religiously unaffiliated versus the teen Gen Z boys are the most spiritual active. So then we were talking about the reasons. Let's read this survey. Just go to protest. You can click on the link yourself. So among young adults, women are now the most likely to disengage from church, prayer, and belief, according to new Barna survey, another Barna one, which found that 38% of women between the ages of 18 and 24 identify as religiously unaffiliated. Spiritual, not religious. Spiritual, not religious. Had to plug my nose. Okay. Unaffiliated, being either atheist, agnostic, or claiming no faith at all. It's a striking statistic given that women are the predominant demographic in the church and have historically been seen as the most interested in religious adherence. In comparison, only 32% of men the same age claim to be religiously unaffiliated, a full 6% fewer. Barna notes that these results hold true even with younger age groups. So I guess that's the alphas, right? Even among teens, 13 to 17, the pattern holds. 28% of teen girls consider themselves religiously unaffiliated versus 22% of boys. I better make sure my teen and tween girls are part of the religiously affiliated. Okay, anyways. It's a clear sign the landscape is changing, challenging long-held assumptions about who is the most likely to distance themselves from religion. So then it goes to another graph. Fun stuff if you're watching or following along. 31% of all, okay, so of all Gen Z 13 to 24 identify as atheist, agnostic, or no faith. All Gen Z, 31%. 13 to 17, 22. 13 to, for males. Females, 13 to 17, 28. Male Gen Z, 18 to 24, 32%. And female Gen Z, 18 to 24, 38%. So, pretty good job, Gen Z and Gen Z, I guess, boys. You could do better, especially the 18 to 24, but still, it's better than their counterparts. And I want to say, like, typically, if there were no other things like governments and laws, if people were left to their own devices, I guarantee this wouldn't be the case. And it may not be the case. Like, this is as of 2025. It's from 2000 to 2025. But let's see what happens, because usually it's not a man point. It's just a historical point. Women typically follow where the men lead. It's almost like it was set this way from the beginning by, I don't know, a creator God. So let's see if this pattern holds and women start to follow suit in like the next year. If they don't, I believe it's because there's someone who is a greater leader than in their minds than the male spirit, the male energy, their male peers, and that would be that the government has stepped in and usurped this leadership role and has the force of legality and the government behind it. So they have more force and weight behind what the government says than just like a male who's like, hey, I'm just here with my toxic masculine energy to keep you safe and, be a hunter, gatherer, provide for my family, stuff like that, because that has always been the default and that's always worked. So where men lead, women typically follow. There are exceptions. You got Xena Warrior Princess. I understand that. Anyways, but if it doesn't go this way and the trend doesn't continue, that's why. I'm just going to claim that's the reason, and probably, after much study, be right. That will be it, because they see a bigger, quote, man stand-in, which is the government with laws with weight of penalties behind it. Thoughts, Chris? Take a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, men should be the natural leaders. When they are, women follow. If men are not the leaders in this area, It's because the government has afforded them rights, that things they want. Like, you can be a girl boss, you can get abortions, health care, liberation for all, and they have the full force of the government behind that. So men should be leaders. If that's not the case in this, and the trend continues, it's because the government has usurped the role of male leadership, particularly Christian spiritual leadership.
Right.
Those are my 2 points.
Men have forfeited that a lot of times too. I mean, it's not just that government has usurped it; it's that men have largely forfeited it.
You can say that. So of the men who have forfeited that, yes. Of the men who are like, look, I want to be that. They would be hamstrung. Of the well-meaning men who don't want to forfeit it. So those who do, you suck. Do better. Those who want to, which is I think a large percentage, they are hamstrung because of what I said. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Sure.
Like, you put a bunch of these what was I gonna say? You put a bunch of these Gen Z guys where there's like caveman days and dinosaurs. First of all, they're gonna die. We'll all die. But assuming we were like acclimated to survivalness back then, and you take today's groups with the survival skills just to stay alive in that time. So we have our ideology. Then things will reset. You have no governing body other than your very local small tribe, which everyone is pretty much on board, because if you're not, you've been fed to lions by now, or dinosaurs. So if you return to that sort of government, where it's a small body, men leadership role, everything will reset and be the way it should be. I mean, then you'll have to deal with things like dinosaur attacks, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that it's good that Gen Z is coming back to church. We can talk about the feminism thing, but like, the more people, the more young people in a covenant community, the more healthy it is. The church that we've been attending is very young. Like I said, there's lots of babies running around the service. It's very cute. And that's good. And we see a lot of young men stepping up with very young families, young men in their early 20s with 2 and 3 kids, which is great. And that's what you want. That is the earmark of a healthy church, I think.
Hey, Sean, welcome.
Thanks. Hey, how's everybody? Well, number one, I'm glad that men are stepping up, and that means somebody's evangelizing men, which is a good thing. It's just always a good thing.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think also there's like a large section of men that they're tired of the feminization of their culture. They're tired of wokeness. They're tired of all of this.
I ain't tired of woke. You know what? Because I'll explain to you, Chris, why I say that as a black man.
Uh-huh.
All right. Woke, when to black men, my age group, means know your history, know your culture. That's what it means. That means to be woke.
Yeah, but that's not what it means to.
Can I make a little?
I'm still alive, so that's what it means to me.
Can I make a little word correction for your consideration? If you want to say that's what woke means, and you want to tell everyone in your conservative, religious, traditional, godly beliefs that you're woke and get a bunch of weird eyes, that's fine. But let me offer something different. People who typically say they're woke, totally not you, because that's not what it means to you, but what it means to everyone else is you're basically the most liberal about every position, religiously, socially, government, economically, you can be. However, very conservative, older than you men that I hear on podcasts I quite like, have come to, it's not unique to them, but I've heard them say it a lot, they will say awake. So they will compare themselves, they'll be like, look, you've got all these woke people, we're awake. So I would say, consider that, maybe instead of saying how woke you are and having your people, people around you be like, what? Sean's woke? That's just crazy. Maybe say awake. Just do what you want. Just that's what I've heard. That's all I got.
Okay, let's just go with logic. What's the opposite of being woke? It means you sleep.
Being a sheeple.
Yeah,
means you sleep.
Well, the opposite of being woke, though, in the parlance in which it's
But
being
I'm giving
meant,
you,
you're just
I'm
giving
giving
us
you,
a literal interpretation of something that's a symbolic word that
I'm
means
using the
something.
symbol, but I also use the symbolic definition as well. Remember,
Uh,
my first definition was what?
was that you are aware of history and culture.
Okay, no, all right. So
Uh huh.
no one should have a problem with that.
No one does have a problem with that. The problem is that woke doesn't mean that to 95% of people who call themselves woke. And so
Well,
when we're
that's
talking
when
about language, language matters. The
I
way in which
understand.
people are using
See, this is
Hold
the
on.
problem.
words
This
matter.
is easy. The use of the word woke has changed. So when I was in high school and college, which was early 2000s, the word woke was also applied to people who were like aware of conspiracy theories and suspicious of the government, right? The word woke meant that people
What?
are yeah.
Who's that? Who's suspicious of
I know,
government?
right? Okay. The word woke meant that you're aware of what's really going on. You're questioning the status quo. You're awake to reality. And so when I was in college, it was easy to call conservatives woke because they didn't like the government. You would call liberals woke because they didn't like the institutions or the way things were. So the word woke was used that way until like the past 10 or so years, it switched to mean an awful, abhorrent, insufferable lib. But it did not mean it that initially. So Sean is using it the way that I was first taught to use that word, and Chris is using it like the Gen Z way.
And all the people who use it the way Steph and I would say Sean try to use it, they say awake. I don't say
Yeah, it
either.
is
I
not
mean,
the
I
Gen
don't
Z
use
way.
either
It's
of
the
these words.
millennial way. Like,
I
woke
yeah, I'm
came
just saying the
about like
people.
10 years ago when Gen Z were like, hanging out in elementary school. So like, no, it's the millennial, like, blame your own generation. But like,
You know what? Royce White. That's who I was thinking of. Sorry, that's who. It was
Millennials
like
didn't use the word woke that way.
it was Royce White.
where do you think it came from?
Royce White, for your information, used to be a basketball player. Now he's like running for office in Minnesota, I think. But that was one of the things he was on a podcast and was like, well, what about this woke stuff? He's like, I ain't woke. I'm just awake. I'm like, that's great. He's also the one, totally not my point. If anyone has a problem with what I'm saying, it's Royce White's point. Take it up with him. He'll probably beat you up. He's a nice guy, though. But he's like, look, I don't like, and someone else was calling in, and they're like, well, what about, you as an African-American? He, like, completely derailed everything he was saying to go on this, like, 20-minute monologue about how don't ever call him an African-American. It is insulting to him. He's like, you're an American, right? You're not a German-American. You're not Irish-American. He's like, you're an American. I'm an American. Stop right there. And it took him, like, 20 minutes to say it. It was great. Anyway, his point, not mine. No one can get mad at me.
Anyway, for the record, I want to say that I have absolutely no problem with the definition Sean is using, and Steph as well. And it's unbelievably close to the definition that I use. I think it's perfectly fine. And Chris, you don't just get to generational it because I'm a Gen Xer just like you.
Yeah,
True Gen
whatever
Xers.
we're just talking about just doesn't make any sense.
That's a no true Scotsman fallacy.
Wait, what were we talking about 15 minutes ago before we started fighting over words?
At any rate, yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like what I mean by woke is the people that are like, yes, we need trans men in women's sports, and yes, we need all the LGBTQ, ideology, and yes, we need the gay marriage, and yes, we need the reparations, and yes, we need the social justice nonsense. This is what I mean by woke. So, like, if there's any question what I mean by woke, that is what I mean by woke. And so, what I am saying is, it is a reaction by Gen Z who were told during COVID, take this shot, wear this mask, we're going to ruin your education. We are the Karens that are standing over you. And they got tired of the nanny state. And I think that one of the things that we see is that there is a reaction amongst Gen Z men against the feminization of the culture and against the nanny state busybodies that want to have say in everyone's tiny little private personal lives when they go about saying they don't want to do that. Because the moment you say, my body, my choice, they're like, yeah, you're for abortion. And then the kid is like, no, I'm against vaccines. And then the liberal goes, oh, and they start having a heart attack because
Because of the vaccines.
cognitive dissonance just starts hitting them so hard, and it's just and so this is what I am speaking of, to be extremely clear without getting bogged down into silly details.
Okay,
Sean,
and so to be
oh,
even clearer, if somebody tells me they're anti-vax, I'm like, okay, if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's just fine. But for someone who like, and this is the funny little bit, for someone who says they don't want somebody, being their little nanny, getting in every little nook and cranny. This is the irony in this. You want that for you, but your whole thing is freedom, freedom, freedom with little asterisks, right? Because you don't want anybody telling you what to do, but you want to be able to tell certain people what they can do. You
Like
do
what?
want
Like what?
to be able
Well,
to
we know
insert
what.
Give
yourself.
me an example.
abortion. You know this, but I would say this is where Michael would
I
say the
you
right for
can't
me
kill
to swing
people.
my fist stops before it hits someone else's nose.
Exactly.
Because that infringes
Yeah.
on their right, and I will say that's
Sorry,
exactly
you
the same
don't get
argument.
to rip
Because,
babies out of the
and
womb.
I will
Okay.
say that's the exact same
Okay,
argument
Chris.
because hang on.
Okay, go ahead.
The mother's right to swing her metaphorical fist to murder her baby stops right before it gets to that baby's metaphorical nose via scalpel and crushing its head out of her body. So she can do whatever she wants with her body, but when her body, what she wants to do with her freedom, which we totally support, it ends when it starts negatively affecting that other body that is not hers and her body. And we obviously will disagree, but that's the rationale.
Right. So
the
Chris
logic
brought up
holds.
abortion. I didn't. Let's
I
go
did.
to something.
I did.
Okay.
That
Let's
was
go
my
to
fault.
something. Let's go to something that has positively, absolutely. It couldn't have less impact on you. Chris, should two men be able to get married?
Sorry. No.
Oh, does that have any impact on your life in any way, shape, or form?
Obviously, yes. Because that has been
You are.
absolutely
That's the
shown.
funniest thing a human being has
No,
ever
it is
said.
not, because what we have absolutely witnessed over the last
No,
10
I said
years
your life,
is
Chris.
the absolute assault on my life and the lives of my kid and everyone else by the gay mafia. And so your ridiculous assertion, look, your cackling doesn't change the fact that
You
the
just said
Gen
gay
Z
mafia?
kids that are
I'm cackling too,
rejecting
but
your
because
ideology
it's funny and
en
true.
masse
It is
because
true.
It is feminized
It is also a
and
funny
it
way of
is
saying it.
wicked is because they see, you earlier said, oh, I don't care if somebody gets a vaccine. You absolutely care because
No, I
you
don't.
voted. No, because listen,
They'll be
because
selected against.
leftists required people not by law, but by manufacturing regulations out of thin air on businesses to require vaccines because they were going to do it through any means necessary. And so this is what I'm talking about. And so this nonsense that you're like, I don't care if somebody gets a vaccine or not. No, that's not true, because liberals and leftists continually will push their preferences into the public square. And this is why we
So
want
I'm
Christian,
telling
and this
you
is
I
why
don't
we
care,
want
and you're
Christian
telling me I do.
nationalism. Yes, I'm telling you that by
You're
virtue
telling
of
me
your
I care
vote,
about something I told you I don't care about?
yes, because you're lying.
I'm lying to you. Okay.
Yes.
I think this would be one of the things that if we had your voter record or whatever, a country away, it would be one of the things he's pronouncing something you deny based on actions over words. Whether or not that's true, that would be the argument trying to be made.
So the other problem is that Chris again brought up something that I didn't bring up. So Chris, please tell me what two men doing in the privacy of their own home. So what you want to do is you want to be able to do something that you don't want to have happen to you. You want to be able to do what you want in your own home, and you want to be able to look at two other people and say you can't do the same thing. Why?
Society.
Because of what you believe.
No,
It has
because
zero impact on
it
zero.
again, it has
zero
everything
impact
to
on
do
you.
with what you believe. You want your preferences, we can't call them morals, I understand. You want your preferences to be in the public square
My
as
preference is I
law.
don't care, Chris. I don't
Sure you
care what
do.
two
You
people do in
vote
the
for
privacy
your,
of their own home.
you vote for,
I don't
you
care what you
absolutely
do in the
do.
privacy of yours, and I
You
don't care what
absolutely do.
I care what you do in the privacy of your home.
You should see what he does in
Absolutely.
his home.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
So,
I
so
can
here's
I can
He
only imagine. It
prays.
probably just has to do with subjugating his
Michael,
wife.
your argument is just dumb. If I was, I don't know, like Steph in my house, like going around and butchering tens of thousands of rabbits without a license, you would absolutely care. If
Excuse me.
somebody, if somebody was
Steph,
like,
you're not going to be
oh,
free of the shrapnel in this.
I'm
Everybody's
gonna,
getting hit.
yeah, I was like, yeah, exactly. So if somebody was having dog fighting in their house, you would care what they're doing in the privacy of their own home? Of course you would, because you see it as immoral. Well, not immoral, it's against your preferences. Like this argument that there's people doing things in the privacy of their own home, if they are contributing to the destruction of Western civilization, then they must be prohibited no matter what the action is.
Did
And
you
I know,
just compare dog fighting in a house to two people having dinner?
Let's welcome
yes.
Andrew as if it's not spicy enough. What's up, Andrew?
No.
What's up? Hey, hi. Thanks for bringing me up, Nate. Steph.
Oh, Steph, please don't drop him. I forgot you guys
I'm
had
not.
a thing.
I've got you super blocked though, so don't leave.
I forgot you had a thing. Just don't drop him. We'll just
I'm
talk
not
to him.
dropping him. It's not my
Thank
room.
you.
You
And
guys.
don't you leave either.
What's the Andrew beef now? I'm really interested.
It's bizarre.
It's just the
But,
way he is, or everything he says.
No,
or
he went
does,
after me in a chat. That was why I blocked him. I just used to tolerate him annoying.
How did I go after you?
Okay, Andrew, hang on. Wait.
I
Whatever the reason you actually came up here for, say something on that to keep.
I'll tell you, yeah, for sure. So, Michael, I mean, obviously, what Chris is saying is correct. You do care what two adults do in their own home. There's all kinds of things. Now, they could be doing.
Andrew, stop telling me what I think.
No, it's just
no,
true.
just stop. No, stop telling me what I think. You know what, Andrew? You don't really believe in God. You don't.
Yeah, okay,
I know you say you do, but you don't.
Hang on.
You don't. You're lying. You're lying.
Hang on.
What you're saying.
Hang on. Hold. One moment, everyone. I can fix this. What Andrew is about to say is, Michael, he's positing a claim that he knows what you believe, and now we're about to hear his evidence for it.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you. Can one person consent to be murdered by the other?
Well, you're supposed to give
Michael?
Evidence. Now you're asking him a question.
Yeah, because the answer to this reveals his. Obviously, he does not think this is okay. Go ahead, Michael.
What do you mean to consent to be murdered? Like,
And
are you
someone
talking
say,
about?
"I want you
Are
to
you
kill
talking
me."
about something like medical assistance in dying? Because I support that.
No, I'm saying two people are in their house. You said that you don't care about what people do in their own home. Okay, two people are in a house. One says to the other, "I want you to murder me right now." Is that okay?
That's not murder.
Oh, that's not murder.
No.
If somebody says, "I want you to kill me," and then the other person kills them, you think that's justified?
I think that's tantamount to suicide, not murder. Which is different.
That is, you are being absolutely, either you're not thinking about what you're saying right now, or you are one of the most deplorable people I've ever met, Michael.
You're just sitting there pretending to believe in God because you don't really believe in God.
You just said that it's okay for a person to kill somebody.
By what standard are you judging me?
If I was to lawyer this, I really don't want to agree with Michael on this particular point, but if we're going by words and letters, murder is unjustified killing.
That's
if someone
not justified
says,
just because somebody says, kill me.
Well, I would have a hard, I'm open to persuasion, but if someone's like, look, bro, my life is, this happened to me, actually. I just learned, not me. I just learned this happened. I'm talking to you from the pearly gates, guys. No, I'm maybe after this.
Did Andrew murder you and eat you?
So I just found out this happened to me. in my community, I just learned that someone across my community, I never knew them, but they had a neighbor, and no one's seen them. It was like a 80-something-year-old couple. One apparently had like cancer and was like on death's door for like months. And so one day they said they came out of their house, and this happened like a couple of years ago, but I just heard the story. Cops came over, and it was in the middle of the night, and like cops were there. It was a whole big thing, and no one could find out what was going on. So later they discovered, they thought, like some people thought they heard a gunshot like a couple days before, but they attributed it to a truck or a backfire of a truck or something like that. And Chris is on not mute. There you go. Anyway, so basically though, once everyone found out what happened, there was like a murder-suicide. This guy shot his, I think it was wife. The guy shot his wife because she was like on had cancer. She was about to die, and she was like in pain. And they made a pact. Like, I guess someone said they found a note later that said they had always made a pact that they wouldn't let the other live without them. So they would basically go out together, like a Bonnie and Clyde thing. Anyway, that was it. Or Thelma and Louise, my bad. Thelma and Louise, no homo. So that happened. So I don't know how I feel about it, but it's like if the woman's like, look, I'm miserable, I'm in pain, I'm dying anyway, and then the guy's like, okay. I'm sure they would call it a mercy killing. So is it murder? Or if they're like, is it a mercy killing?
It's
you wouldn't
murder.
say like, well,
Don't
okay,
use
and then
the
this
term mercy killing. Nate.
and then this guy offs himself. So
No, I'm not talking about that, Nate. I'm
Nate,
saying
you
two healthy,
monster.
middle-aged adults, two friends, let's
Wait,
just say.
Andrew,
by the way,
This
this is not a Christian opinion at all. I'm playing in Michael's
I
sandbox.
Nate, I understand, but I just want to say this: it would
Don't
violate
kill
both
anything.
It would violate both Canadian and American law.
It
For somebody
wouldn't.
to say.
It
for
wouldn't,
somebody to
Andrew.
What's that, Meyer?
It's legal in Canada. So can I mediate for a second? Because I think I'm
in
the
Canada,
most
you
simple.
can't. No. You understand the
Assisted
scenario.
suicide is legal. You can go to someone
that's
and
not
say,
what
please
I'm
euthanize
talking
me.
about. I'm not talking about with the doctor or anything like that. I'm saying two people.
But what, I
that are
don't.
No,
just
he means it's not a punishable crime. Like part of what Michael is coming from is his national value that you have a right to control how you die. We don't have that here. So Mira's trying to tell you
No,
it's
there's a
not a
fundamental problem
yeah.
here. The problem is you're coming from a religious Christian point of view, which I agree with, that it's not my body, my choice. That's not the reason why vaccines, I shouldn't like to say vaccines. It's because you're borrowing God's body and you have to protect it. You can't just end it on your own terms. But Michael's coming from the terms that you can. So you have a total disconnect of the argument you're using.
I
Because
understand what you're
he's going
saying.
to say it is
The only point
okay
I'm
to tell
commenting on.
someone to murder you.
Well, just let me, please allow me to provide defense for what I'm saying. It is the case that under Canadian law, and that is not true, you can't just have two consenting adults or an adult consent to being killed. Let me just go ahead and read. Consent is not a defense to murder or manslaughter in this context. Section 14 of the Criminal Code states that no person is entitled to consent to have death inflicted on him, and such consent does not affect the criminal responsibility of any person by whom death may be inflicted on the person by whom consent is given. You
Fine.
cannot.
So
You're
let me
reading
ask
Canadian.
this to Michael.
You cannot consent.
Fine. So
to
Andrew, let me
somebody-
ask this to Michael so we can move on. Michael, are you agree with that law, or would you change Canadian law if you had the power to say it is okay to consent to your own death?
Yeah, I believe if you have the right to live, you have the right to not live.
Yeah, so we're not getting anywhere because he doesn't agree with the law. But let me ask you this, Michael, because I get the libertarian approach that you're coming from, and I also think that gay marriage is not okay. Marriage is not a privacy of your own home at all. You're telling me I have to respect you as a couple in many instances. So that's not the privacy of your own home. So now make the case why I should have to accept.
Oh no. So you said accept and respect; those are two different things, right? So you don't have to respect it. So for example, in in the context of this conversation, I don't have any respect for the things that Chris or Andrew have said, but I do have to accept it because it's what's been said, and I have zero power to change it. So you don't have to respect it, right? The same as I don't have to respect the fact.
I do.
Sorry, you're cut. Either I'm cutting out or you're cutting out. So I'm not sure which one is which. Is it me?
Try again, Mir.
I mean, in that way, because I agree with you. I don't have to respect anything, but I do have to respect it in the fact that now you're a married couple. So if I make a rule that says that this is for married couples, now you are married. If I am running a facility, you now have the rights of a spouse to make medical decisions upon the spouse. So it is a demand by society to respect it as a marriage. I meant it in that respect. In that respect. So
Oh
you are.
yeah.
It's
Then
not the
yes.
privacy of your own homes. If you want to tell me that you want to get rid of I forgot what they're called now, but sodomy laws or whatever, they're not called that. But then that's the privacy of your own home. Marriage is not. It's a very public issue. Marriage.
Right, but my decision, and we're talking so much in the abstract because I'm straight, but from my position, I don't have to respect someone else's decision, whether it be in private or not, but I do have to accept that. So like I could be against. So like for example, I myself am. I'm not even going to go there because it's just going to open up a whole other can of worms. I'll just stay with what you said. So no, if so yes, like, and again in Canada, and I'm glad that you made the distinction between Canada and US because there are stark differences between the two. So for example, in Canada, gay marriage has been legal 2006, I believe, 2005, 2006. So when it comes to, for example, making decisions when it comes to a spouse and things like that, yes, those are like those. That's just part of the law. But if you're saying then that if are you making the argument that if you worked for a hospital and you had your religious conviction, and somebody came in with their same sex partner,
So
and that same
let's
sex
put up
partner
even
was
a more poignant example. If
sure, yeah,
God forbid something happened to my wife and I left in my will, I want my child to be adopted only by a straight couple. I can't do that because they will say that a married gay couple that comes in is called married. So society has accepted, based on Obergefell, which was a Supreme Court decision, that we now accept, do you want to use that word? Gay marriage. It is not in the privacy of my own home. It's a demand upon society to accept this as a marriage. I could be disrespectful. I could spit at people. I mean, maybe not. That might be a law. I could say whatever I want. I still have the First Amendment. I could say I don't respect your marriage. I don't think you're married. If I want to be nasty, but I have to. I'm part of a society that this is marriage, and there's no getting around that. That's what society has accepted. So it's not the privacy of the home. That's all I'm pointing out. That you can't keep making that argument.
So again, you reference a Supreme Court decision that I don't know has any bearing in Canada. I don't actually know. Like in fairness, the argument that you make, I don't know whether or not that's legal in Canada or not. I'm not a lawyer and don't have access to encyclopedia lawyer stuff. So I don't like you. So I would concede you might be right in that very specific case, but I don't know whether or not that's the case in Canada.
Okay,
If
I'd
you
like
want to
to.
do this for a moment, you could look this up because it just happened. I don't have the details. There's a Christian group, I believe it's in Minnesota, that is losing their license to have adoptions because they didn't want to affirm genders, and
Greg posted the
it's a
link.
case going on right now. Okay.
Okay, I'd like to defend my claim if I can. If a person consents to being cannibalized over a period of a year, they want to be tortured. Are you okay with that, Michael? One adult to the other in the privacy of their home. Michael?
That's such an absurd even.
Let me make it. We'll do something different. If a chemist
Yeah,
wants to make if a chemist wants to make an atomic bomb and make multiple ones, and they know how to do it in their home, they want to make multiple atomic bombs. They're not saying they're going to distribute them, even if they are. It doesn't matter. It's in their home, but they're in their home making atomic bombs. You okay with that?
Oh, well, no, they wouldn't. Again, that's absurd because there are components that it's illegal for
It doesn't
citizens
matter.
to
That's
own.
irrelevant.
doesn't
People
even
can
have to
get
be atomic
that's
bombs,
irrelevant.
Michael. It can just be pipe bombs.
Chris. Of course, you're right. But
Yeah,
obviously,
so like,
but obviously, he's just trying to get around the hypothetical. It's
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
possible. There's nothing in the real world that prevents this. You can't just say, "Well, that's not." No, it can happen. Are you okay with it?
So the problem with that analogy is that they're not it's not even close to the same thing. So you're trying to make these you're trying to make Andrew, you're trying to make these absurd things like try to seem viable to say, oh, see, you don't actually think this thing when you're talking about something like the equivalencies you're trying to make
Can
are
someone
so
rape
absurd.
somebody? Can
Okay,
somebody
hold up,
rape
hold
somebody
up,
in
hold
their
up.
own home?
Andrew, let me try to help you.
No, I mean it's
So
obviously
the
wrong
so
what he's
the
saying, Chris. But I'm just saying, can somebody
No, but
rape somebody? That's my
Chris,
last example. Can somebody
but
rape somebody?
yeah, so
Andrew,
Michael,
you can't rape someone
It's a
consensually.
logical impossibility.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I'm
Like
not saying no.
That's a
but like,
logical fallacy.
No. If somebody says I'm going to give you irrevocable consent, I'm actually going to say I'm going to give my
that's
consent
not
up.
something
like
you can do.
they
You
have a
can say
rape
it.
fetish.
You can write down an agreement, and they can say I want to give irrevocable consent because I want to be raped. There are people
Yeah,
who do this.
there is a rape fetish out there, Michael. And
Yes.
Michael, there is also a case in Germany where two men had a pact, two homosexual men, with a fetish that the first one wanted to be cannibalized by the other one as part of their sexual fetish. This was
Amen.
an actual case in Germany. He agreed to be murdered by the other guy and eaten, who promptly did. So this is an actual case in Germany. Are you okay with that?
No, I don't like that idea. No.
Okay. So you're
Okay,
not
so that goes
okay.
against your
That violates
preferences.
your whole idea there.
No,
So then
it
you do
doesn't. See,
care what people
this
do
is
in
the
the
problem. You
privacy of
try to
their
come
own
up with
home.
this, Chris. I've never said this to you before, but shut up, Andrew. Andrew,
Diamondback.
The problem with this is that you're trying to come up with these unbelievable things and then relate it back to something that's not even on the same level in any way, shape, or form. What you're trying to say is that two people agreeing to murder and cannibalization is the same as two people having dinner in their home together and then sleeping together. And if you can't see the idiocy of the words that just came out of your mouth when suggesting
No, it's
something
not a
like
matter of
that,
idiocy.
I've got nothing to say to you.
No, it's a matter
And
of
besides,
it's a matter,
you don't really believe in God.
it's a
You're
matter of
you're
your blanket
lying.
statements.
Hang
It's a
on,
matter of your
everyone.
blanket statements.
Hang
That's the problem.
on. Let's wind it down real fast. Let me. So the summary of this is: Michael says, "What does it matter what two people do in the privacy of their own home?" Mir rightly points out, and Chris counters, it goes beyond just their own home. If it stayed in their own home, it may not be something they're into, but fine, it's legit in their own home. But there's so many ramifications outside their home because the government acknowledges that they're married, and that has other ramifications that go beyond the borders of their walls. That's the summary, and let me, since I had to look this up because whatever, let's see, when was this, Chris? Victim of cannibal, this is the Guardian. Victim of cannibal agreed to be eaten. To the family next door, Armin Meiwes seemed the perfect neighbor. He mowed the lawn, repaired their car, even invited for a round of dinner. Other residents in the small German town of Rotensburg also believe there was nothing odd about the 42-year-old computer expert. Uh-oh, Chris, you're an expert with computers, right? Whose light burned late into the night, making his inside his creaking mansion. Yesterday, however, Meiwes appeared in court charged with killing and then frying and eating another man. One of the most extraordinary trials in German criminal history. The self-confessed cannibal admitted that he had met 43-year-old Berlin engineer Bernd Brands after advertising on the internet and had chopped him up and eaten him. It was, he said, something he had wanted to do for a long time. I always had a fantasy, and then in the end I fulfilled it. Meiwes told the court on the first day of his trial the murder in a nearby city of Kassel. Yesterday, German prosecutors described how this dude had fantasized about killing and eating someone, including his classmates, from the age of 8. The desire grew stronger and stronger. Is this the one you're talking about, Chris? Let's see. On the evening, the two men went up to their bedroom in Mears. Timbered farmhouse, swallowed. Mr. Brands swallowed 20 sleeping tablets and half a bottle of schnapps before Meiwes cut off Brands' member with his agreement and fried it for both of them to eat. By this stage, this stage, he was bleeding heavily, then took a bath while Meiwes read a Star Trek novel. In the early hours of the morning, he finished off his victim by stabbing him in the neck with a large kitchen knife, kissing him first.
Enough.
Romantic.
Enough. I just ate y'all.
I have lunch in an hour, or maybe not. Whatever. Chris, you want to come over for lunch?
No thanks.
The official position of Ask a Christian podcast is don't eat people, don't kill, don't eat people, don't abuse medication.
I'm just glad that Michael is so progressive.
Well, no, Wang, we're not going to keep the fight going. I'm just reading this for whatever's sake. Over the next few weeks, he defrosted and cooked parts of Mr. Brands in olive oil and garlic. Heart health. Eventually consuming 20 kilograms. Michael, how much is that? 20 kilograms of human flesh before police finally turned up at his door.
It's about 40 pounds.
It's around 30
40 pounds? Wow, okay. With every bite, my memory of him grew stronger, he said. Behind bars, Meiwes told detectives he has consumed his victim with a bottle of South African red wine. He's making lots of reasonable choices if he just didn't do it in pairing with eating someone. Red wine, little olive oil, little garlic, like these are fine. Just don't do it with a side of human flesh.
Nate, stop.
Okay, so South African red
Nate,
wine.
Can we just say that I won?
No, because then Michael will never let it go, and I'm trying to get out of here at a reasonable time. You are persuasive. Had got out his best cutlery, decorated his dining table with tables and candles. He tasted of pork. Okay, guys, when the apocalypse happens, apparently people taste like pork. So I don't know how the Torah observant will be able to survive, but for everyone else, Chris, they taste like pork. You know what? That's enough. Okay, so instead of having charged with murder for purposes of sexual pleasure and with disturbing piece of the dead, he has a unique defense that his victim actually agreed to be killed and eaten. Crucial to the case is a gruesome videotape, made by Meiwes of the entire event, during which Brands apparently makes his clear consent. Before setting off this one-way journey to Rotensburg, he was outwardly at least a successful, financial, secure professional. See, women, money and financial stability is not everything. I'm just gonna point that out, ladies. Financial stability is not everything you want to look for in a man. I don't mean to make fun of the dead, but this is messed up. The girl. He had a girlfriend. Wait, he had a girlfriend. So he was a successfully financially secure
Menage a
professional
trois.
with a live-in girlfriend. I have a feeling she was excluded. Okay, he had a live-in girlfriend. Okay, so the girlfriend, Benita L., told German TV she enjoyed a healthy sex life. Probably not the way God intended. Just going to say that could be the first step you start going off the rails. They had a healthy sexual life with Brands, but they'd split. They had split up after he revealed he also liked dudes. In fact, prosecutors said yesterday Brands was also suffering from severe psychiatric disorder and strong desire for self-destruction. After killing Brands, the German cannibal met 5 other men who responded to his internet advertisement, including one from London. He did not, however, kill them. Congratulations. In July 2001, a student stumbled on Mewes' chat room and alerted German authorities who arrested him last December. Yesterday, Mewes told the court that he had felt lonely and neglected as a child after his father walked out of the family. If you wanted to eat people since you were 8, I mean, I don't want to say it's always the kid's fault, but I get why your dad may have left. If you're like, Daddy, I want to eat people, I'm out of here, bro. Okay.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't know, man.
Did the wording say dudes? He likes dudes.
It said men. It said men is my flare.
How did he kill him? How did he killed him?
He
it mentioned it in the article.
Yeah, he wants the exact word. I'm not giving you an exact word fallacy here. The thing that makes him, well, okay, anyways. He had fantasized about having a blonde younger brother who he could keep forever by consuming him. Okay, look. If parents typically abandon their children, it's the parents' bad. If the guy's like, Daddy, I wish I had a brother so I could eat him. I'm going to say I understand. Abandoning your family is probably never right, but man, I'm not going to be super hard on the dad if that's why.
Bro.
If convicted, he faces life in prison. The verdict is due. He spoke good English, he said. Since eating him, his English had improved. It is also revealed he is now writing memoirs. Chris, this is in 2001. If anyone wants to dive deeper down this very dark hole, his memoirs are probably available. Good Lord.
Let me just say,
this is the most messed up thing we've ever covered.
And this, my friends, is why we must have objective reality that is true in every place, for all people, in all situations, that is prefaced by and given to us by the character and nature of the triune God. And anything else is depravity and will lead to eating people. Thank you.
Hang on, Andrew. I want to move away from this. Steph has been very silent, probably because she's completely retching. Did you want to say anything about this at all?
I have a related topic about something that actually happened in my town, weirdly enough, that will take us
Your
down
town full of
track.
witches and Satanists?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay,
so
yeah,
if we
go
want to
ahead.
have other real fun examples of this kind of thing. But no, I largely tuned out. Once we got to 40 kilos, I was out.
What happened in your town?
Okay, I'm going to totally dox myself, all right? So all y'all be nice or whatever. Okay, so in my
Steph,
town...
I'm sitting outside your house right now. What are you talking about?
Well, Michael knows where I am.
Look in the bedroom closet.
There's a few people in here who know exactly where I am. Okay.
It says on YouTube, just saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I get it. Okay.
Go ahead.
There is a home. My dog is crying for some reason. Just, you guys are going to have to deal with it. So
you're about to dogs him.
Do you want dogs him? I know people are going to come after you. So my town recently, where do I start this story? Okay, I'm going to start it here. In the 1920s, all right, there developed a homeless camp that if I say the name of it, people are going to be able to find me. Okay. There's a homeless camp that has a name and has been around since the 20s for generations, and it is behind the Walmart, and it is like massive. It is huge. It is full of hundreds of people. It has been going strong for 100 years, and the town has just always been like, they can just, the winters up here are very harsh. It is ridiculous. Okay, so all these people live in this homeless camp, right? And finally in 2025, over 100 years later, the town is like, maybe we could do something about this. So one of the things they did was they set up clinics. What do you call these? I forget what they're called now. The safe needle clinics, where you can go shoot up your illegally acquired heroin in front of a nurse.
What? Why did... Oh my gosh. Why did my internet just die? Is it my internet? Is it everything? What just happened? Hang on. Is my internet working? Okay, my internet's working. Did I just get banned on Clubhouse for talking about eating people? Wow. Uh-oh. Okay, my recorder's still going. What the heck happened? Okay, I'm gonna put this on the Jesse Duplantis screen while I figure this out. What the heck? Oh boy. Okay, let's find this. Club deck. Wow. Oh my gosh. That is the craziest thing. Okay, force quit. Oh, no way. No way. Did we really get canceled for talking about a legit news story? Okay, maybe not. Hang on. Let's see here. How do I join this?
And something really interesting happened. Over those 2 years, the people who were most injured and filing lawsuits and
Okay,
complaining were
just had a weird
Black
crash.
women. And the reason is the town did not foresee that low-income urban females, okay, were going to be the first people impacted by this policy. So then when they realized that they were hurting Black women, they're like, oh my God, So then they completely reinstituted the police, and then nobody wanted to come work for this town. So now the police today, 5 years later, are still at half capacity because nobody, like, there's all these Facebook posts and articles and opinion, like, cops everywhere are like, well, I'm not going to work for them because they could just get rid of me on a moment's notice, right? Okay, here we are. The next thing they decide to do is that they are going to build a $97 million development. $97 million. And they're going to put it in the nicest, poshest part of downtown, right by all the public transportation. It has 187 units, and 100 of those units are for homeless people from the camp. So they just went over there with a bus, picked up all the homeless people, and put them in this brand new state-of-the-art $97 million building. That was 13 months ago. Okay. Now there have been multiple stabbings. They said 10% of the police calls are going to this building. All of, and I mean all, of the restaurants and coffee shops on that block have closed down and left. There are, like, an old man, like an 80-year-old was just murdered in the parking garage right next door. This stuff doesn't happen here. Like, this is a very, like, posh Ivy League town, okay? It has become an absolute disaster. And last night I read an article about a murder that happened in this place that was so graphic. It involved bodily fluids and a wooden peg and, like, a beheading. It
What?
was, yes. Okay, I don't even know if we want to go into it more than that. As I was reading the article, I was gagging. And this
Great
is
Halloween
all
story.
what it's a horrific story because it really happened to some poor young man who was
Man.
living in the homeless encampment.
Atheist morality is sounding better and better.
So
Does your
anyway,
county start with a J?
no.
Oh. Okay.
No, it does not. It really doesn't.
I
So
said county, not town.
Atheist morality.
I know the
Where did
county
that
does
come
not
from?
know.
She doesn't live in Jamestown.
I do not know. Well, I can't think of any New York counties that start with a J. Anyway, so all of this has happened, and now there's, like, rich white people protesting outside of the homeless building, and the city gave them a pilot, which is a payment in lieu of taxes, where the city says, we're going to waive $20 million in taxes for you to do this development because this is such a wonderful thing. And the city was all like, this is great, we're going to provide the transportation, we're going to get you involved with the community agency that does like social work and drug rehab, and we're going to set them up. One of the girls who did the drug rehab, I don't know what her role was, but she was like, her job was to help facilitate people who are transitioning out of homelessness and out of drug addiction back into, she got stabbed at this building. Like some 25-year-old girl with a college degree who was all excited to make an impact in the world, right? There are heroin needles everywhere. The stairs are covered in human feces. It is, the reason this is relevant is because I am now trying to sell a restaurant next door, and I had no idea it was this bad until yesterday because I never go to that part of town. Anyway,
sucks.
that is now what's on my mind. And the city is now revoking the pilot and compelling this guy to change course, which means they're going to have to ship all the homeless people back to the encampment behind Walmart before winter. The whole thing is an absolute disaster. So I don't know if that's relevant, but that's what's on my mind
It
right
is
now.
absolutely relevant stuff because all of those people, whatever they're doing in the privacy of their own home, isn't hurting anybody. Steph?
Let's see if Caleb,
Chris, that
with
makes
a
no
rabbit,
sense.
has anything to say about Christianity with a rabbit on a pile of skulls. Is this in reference to Steph, or what's up, Caleb? How are you doing?
I just saw it one day and thought it was for the screenshot, so I appreciate that. No, I
That's
don't
a
think I have
pile of
anything on the...
pile of Chris's skulls.
Yeah, I think it's just that dichotomy between like a cute bunny and the skulls that I thought was funny. But
Is that the bunny from Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
it can be if you want it to be. It can be if you want it to be. Yeah.
That was one of
Just a
the
little
hardest
bunny.
times I've ever laughed during a movie. It was so
Yeah.
unexpected.
Run away! Run away!
Boss, go make us some rabbit stew.
Remember the holy hand grenade?
Yeah, the holy hand grenade of Antioch.
So this fun, right? Good day, everyone. Okay, look, don't do drugs, don't abuse regular medication, don't eat people, and don't kill/murder/unalive anyone. All right, our basis
But
covered.
if you're an atheist, it's just a preference. It's just a guideline.
Chris, why
See, what I said was
that?
nice. What you said is gonna get them yelling at
Nate,
you.
Chris, why do you do that?
What is the pudding flavor that you're stirring right now?
So the final thing I wanted to say that if a father wanted to impregnate his daughter, who consensually does it, over 18, right?
Well,
consensually impregnate his
I think
daughter.
we're gonna move on that note.
So there you go, Nate. And I doubt Michael's going to be in favor of that.
What on earth did I just walk into? My goodness.
Hey, everyone, apparently Nate does have a line somewhere. We've just found it. Okay, so let's do the last story and see if we can, I'm not going to say recover, but walk things back a little bit with this headline. Probably not. Steph, you be the first one if you'd like to speak on this.
Okay.
Let me share this link so everyone can follow
Chris,
along.
the article's about this building, by the way, so you can enjoy this.
And
Before
I will say,
we can call this the crazy news of the day. How about that?
this entire thing, this is like a Friday broadcast for sure, but it's only Tuesday. Okay, so you can follow along. There is, I would say this would be the wildest thing we experienced, but after today, this is pretty tame. Let's see what it says. I have not pre-read this. Them babies were in my face. Jesse Duplantis regales church with many, quote, big-breasted women stories. I will say about all I know of Jesse Duplantis is I grew up where my grandma would watch him because she only had limited TV, and that's when everyone trusted church preachers on TV, I guess. So she would listen to him a lot. I occasionally heard him talk for like a few minutes between my childhood attention span. So I don't really know much about him, except what everyone else and Chris says about him. Okay, so
he went to heaven. Did you know that?
I did. That is one thing I always remembered. He said he did go to heaven, and he did see King David, and he was offered, I think, the fruit of the tree of life, I believe. And it was. Do we watch the same broadcast? And it was copper colored. Did you hear that?
Yes.
So that is about the only thing I've legit heard him say with my own ears. That. So I'm like, in the back of my mind, I can't stop it if I wanted. I'm like, when I get to heaven, and after today, Lord God, help us all. But when I get to heaven, I want to know, while everyone else is asking about, like, you know, church father stuff and which doctrine was right, I'll be like, is this fruit on the tree of life? Is there a copper fruit anywhere in here? Because I want to know if he was right. That somehow stuck with me for years. Okay, so Protestia, the very first word, arch heretic. Jesse Duplantis is known for his love of filthy liquor and declaring that the Lord flexes on him by giving him a private jet, perhaps the best living example of a twofold son of hell that will spend eternity screaming in horror in the lake of fire if he doesn't repent. Wow. He wrote about him recently after he argued that if you don't believe in the prosperity gospel as he does, one that has made him a multimillionaire by savagely beating and twisting the scriptures for his gain for decades, then Jesus will tell you to go to hell. Notably, he's claimed that God has given him $500 million over the last few years to reach souls, but that is not enough, insisting that he's the fulfillment of the messianic prophecies eternally associated with Christ. Interesting. engaged in gross manipulation when he told folks to give me your money so Jesus don't have to cry anymore, and said, when you see me, well, no way. When you see me, you see the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. You see God incarnate. I want to investigate that quote further. Okay. During a recent message at Millennial Church in Tulsa, it's near my stomping grounds, after Duplantis explains that I have a hard time sinning, I got to make myself, I got to get in. You have to imagine this because he's from Louisiana, I believe. Imagine this in a Cajun accent. I have a hard time sinning. I got to make myself. I got to get in the flesh to do it. He uses an example of a woman still hitting on him and showing him their breast, and this unbothered response to it as an example of him conquering the flesh. Oh, and then I guess the response to it is on Twitter, which I cannot see. Anyway, so I don't know. Does anyone have anything to say about that? I thought he was gonna go on a story telling about.
Why does anyone take Jesse Duplantis seriously and give him money?
I mean, just in case everything I've heard and read about him is wrong, I have confirmed very little of anything. This may be the first one. When you see me, you see God the Father and God incarnate. Let's see about this. So, Arch Heretic. They always start. Wait. This just goes back to their old. Oh, okay. So this is apparently as a quote. We have all been taught. Steph, can you do a Cajun accent by any chance?
I will not. Oh, wait.
Snakebite. If you
what
can't
kind
snakebite.
of Cajun accent?
Snake oil salesman.
The kind where you're like, shoot him. Shoot the alligator.
Hang on. I think this is actually.
Troy Landry, for anyone who's not familiar.
I love Steph. Wait. No. Hold on, Chris. You're very tailored. We have a transcript. I just posted the article. I love your voice, Steph, but this one is snakebite through and through. Chris, could you please click on that article in chat and then scroll down to the quote where it says transcript highlights?
You're going to have to give me a minute. I'm driving, so you're going to have to give me a minute to get off on this here exit. And as soon as I do here in 0.6 miles, according to this infernal GPS, then I shall be able to comply with your request.
Is the GPS depraved?
Don't text and drive.
Is one
just
of
saying.
these demonic devices that God has cursed us with as modern people.
Well,
Why
for point.
people can't get out a map and just start looking at the dang map, I do not know. My car insists on driving me places I do not want to go, and then I am stuck there.
Oh, we actually have a video.
We have been taught from.
We do have a video. Oh, I'm somewhere between this and maybe we'll just get Snakebite's commentary. This is 3 minutes. Do we want to hear it from his own mouth?
I love me some Brother Duplantis. He is one of my good mentors.
You know, I could read it in a very nice, posh English accent if you'd like, and that would be quite, the opposite of what's expected. No? Okay.
Wow, I have 3 good choices here. There's no bad choice. Like, there's Snakebite. There's you. I mean, I wanted to hear your Creole, like your like French Haitian Creole accent from like a hoodoo temple in the swamps of Louisiana.
No. Hold on, before you get me in trouble. The only Haitian Creole accent that I'm familiar with is Troy Landry's, the super white dude who hunts alligators on swamp people. Just so we're all clear, that would be the Creole accent I would do.
How does that sound? I'm not familiar.
Shoot him! Get the alligator!
I gotta say that lady, whoever that was, she does sound like one of the denizens of my church.
Sounds like one of your sister cousin Meiwes.
Oh, look at that! A phone call I have to take.
I would not go that far, Nate.
Okay.
There's only so much pain a man can have inflicted upon him.
Oh gosh. Okay, I have to go soon. So hang on. Here we go. We're gonna listen to Jesse. We're gonna hear what he says with his own mouth, and this will probably be more of him than I've ever heard. So we're gonna hear what this dude says, and then I'm gonna have to wrap it up and leave to honor my father and mother and take them to lunch at a prompt time. All right, here we go.
Millenniums and centuries. How bad our flesh is. And we thought if we would beat it to pieces, subject it hard, that God would be pleased. Yet the Bible said, present your body as a living sacrifice. Back in the that Christmas is not a time factor, it's an eternity factor. Write this down. Christ in us is the dwelling place of God. Ooh, the place of revelation. The meeting place of God and man. You want to know where God and man meets? Right here. Even with my red shoes on. What you think of them Santa Claus shoes? Ain't that something? Yeah, get a shot of that. Praise God. So when you see that, God and man meets inside of you. And he doesn't dwell in an ugly place. Let me say it again. Christ in us is the dwelling place of God. Christ in us is the dwelling place of God, the place of revelation. The meeting place of God and man. Whoo, isn't that something? And the Word was made flesh. Why did God want to get inside of us? Because we were just that good. When he created us, he never wanted to become an angel. Think about that. He never wanted to become a seraphim. That's that winged, 6 wings. He never wanted to become an archangel. He never wanted to become anything he ever created till he created us. Now I'm going to shock and make somebody mad. Why? Because we were perfection at his best. Let us make man in our image. What's man? What is man that thou art mindful of him? That's why he said, present your bodies a living sacrifice. Why? Because I live in there. Yeah. So quit thinking you bad, because you're not. God don't live in the ghetto of mankind. Evidently, he thinks you a mansion. Not a trailer. There ain't nothing wrong with a trailer, but a mansion. And begin to understand my human life began. See, let me say again, when Jesus was born, the possibilities of human nature began to be realized. Now, how did that happen? In Christ, we breathe a new air. What happened? We have crossed the new boundary line. So I'm going to say something going to shock you. When you see me, you see the Father. You see the Son. You see the Holy Ghost. You see God incarnate. It's called the Incarnation.
So, who feels like, or who already has burst into flames? Anyone?
This is the same man who says that Jesus hasn't come back yet because people don't give him enough money. And he also said that if Jesus came back today, he wouldn't be riding on a donkey. He'd be riding in a private jet.
Dang. Oh, hey, Joanna. What's up? Chris, do you have anything to say about that, or is everything just self-explanatory? That was interesting. Chris has either been raptured or this has caused him to run off the road. No one? Okay, so I'll say that was really rough, and the only saving grace is if I didn't hear what I heard, and in some clumsy bumpkin Louisiana swamp snakebite way, everything he said was pure as gold in his heart, and every word he said was completely wrong. Other than that, no, that was very rough, and I caught several things I would run away from with a 10-foot pole. Joanna, good morning, welcome.
What about his red shoes?
Well, I did think is that the same kind that Pope wears, which is rumored to be out of the flesh of dead people? Joanna, what's up? Good morning.
Oh, good morning. I don't know, who did you just play?
As Jesse Duplantis.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say thank you for the room. And I want everyone to know that there's 3 scriptures where it says there'll be a new heaven and a new earth. There's one in Isaiah, Peter, and Revelation. So let's all get the armor of God and be ready for this new earth that's coming. I'm not quite sure what the new earth is, but I know that we're supposed to be preparing for it spiritually. Thank you.
Well, sure. It's always good to have you here and chat with you. You're a little later than usual, but I'm just on my way out now. But it has been a wild day. But thank you for sharing, Joanna. And
well, Nate, I have come back.
Oh boy. Okay. What's up, Chris? I really have to wind down, but yes. What's up?
Well, I just wanted to say that whatever Jesse Duplantis had to say, I will second that.
Did you hear him?
I heard most of what he was going to say, but then I had to go into the dry cleaner as is one of those things.
Oh, that's
so many clean press suits.
That's a televangelist move, going into the dry cleaners.
Well, here in rural Kentucky, we do have some modern conveniences.
Wait, Snakebite's not from Kentucky, is he?
We are in the mountains of Appalachia, my friend.
I thought Louisiana somewhere. Maybe that's because where Bob was from.
That is where Brother Bob is from, and this really, talking to Snakebite really confused Brother Bob. It done run him off, I'll tell you what.
All right, Steph, final words before I leave. I keep saying I have to leave.
Oh, I missed whatever just happened in the last 15 minutes or whatever.
Next time someone calls you a heretic about anything, just go play the Jesse Duplantis video and just don't say anything. Just drop that link, and when they start watching that, they'll forget all about you.
Can you give me the summary on what that was, or no?
I will give you the link that will allow...
Is it pinned at the top?
No, I have to go back and get it now. It was like I had to click a couple times. There's a video, though. Like, you get to hear it from his own mouth. It was it was pretty indefensible.
So this is a old, wrinkly old white pastor yelling that there's women with low-cut shirts, and that's...
No, he claimed to be God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. And
yeah, we went past the women and breasts real quick. Yeah, we got past that one real fast because, I mean, it didn't really say anything. It was just like...
The breast didn't come out.
It was the least bad thing.
Nate was waiting for the juicy parts.
So
it did not satisfy.
So from that article, I saw this other one where he says that when people see him, they see the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And I'm like, oh, that's way more scandalous than this article.
Did he actually say it? I didn't hear him actually say that. Did he actually?
Were you not listening? It was in the.
Everything. I heard everything but the last two sentences.
Oh,
did he say?
People.
Did he literally say, "When you see me, you see the Holy, you see the Father, you see the Holy Spirit"?
For all those people who weren't listening, let me do this one more time, and I super have to go. Here it is. Okay, hang on. Let's get to the very end here.
So I'm gonna say something gonna shock you. When you see me, you see the Father, you see the Son, you see the Holy Ghost, you see God incarnate. It's called the Incarnation. We have been.
There you go.
Wow.
Yikes.
So I'm just thinking that, like, in a roundabout way, if he was trying to say something like, if I had to say that in a non-heretical way, I would say, like, well, the Bible says we're the temple of the Holy Spirit, and, the Holy Spirit indwells, and, God lives with people. Jesus says, if you open the door to your heart, he'll make his home with you and have fellowship. So that's what I mean. So when you see a Christian, you should see Jesus. The Christian is totally not Jesus, but you should see the characteristics, the qualities, the love of Jesus. That's what we mean. But that is that's like tough enough to do, but that is very far away from what he said. But if he heard that and he's like, that's what I meant. Sure, I guess God will judge you. But if he's like, nah, that's not at all what I meant. I'd be like, anyways, okay. Well, there you go, everyone. So, have a blessed day. And tomorrow we will try to not talk about any of the stuff we talked about today.
I thought that defeating the atheist morality was quite satisfying today.
Everyone tag Chris and... Wait, you've ran all the atheists off. You were so insufferable that they've left.
Wait, Nate and Chris, you two need to read the article that I sent you so that you know I'm not exaggerating. Just skim it.
On Discord?
Discord of this building in my town.
It's so cute that you and Chris can't be in the same Discord server, yet you like DM each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I'm the only one who loses.
Yeah, correct. He's better in 1-to-1, you know. Once there's an audience, he just goes off the rails.
All right, see you guys later.
Sort of like you.
All right, yeah. Why am I hitting PTR? I mean to burn this thing down, metaphorically.
Are you trying to hit rabbits?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, no one can say we're boring. Please go to. Maybe? I keep wanting to say to my website that I've destroyed. Go to youtube.com/questions about Christianity, no spaces, which very little of today was. Okay, have a good rest of your day. Don't eat people.